this morning in regards to the forum, I was trying to understand a metaphysical anxiety, and I think metaphysical is a very good word for that. Metaphysics ultimately has to do with who we are. What is it to be human? And what is the world outside us? And how do we relate to it? So, to what extent should understanding what it is to be human take into account what it is to be human in this world, the way that we understand it? Artists have always used tools. And it's really difficult to understand how these new computer-based tools are any different from any other tools, right? They're tools. And Anthony, in his talk this morning, presented models of thinking about AI art, where the AI is a kind of a tool. But nevertheless, this deflationary perspective, hey, it's just another tool, isn't persuasive. There's a continuing anxiety. It's not just another tool. It challenges who we are and how we think about ourselves, our place in the world. It really disturbs that. And so I said that for a couple of centuries, these new technologies, starting with photography, have been both hyped and have provoked panics. So we've gone through these cycles of hype and panic, hype and panic, hype and panic. And I think that's because we have failed to really get down to brass tacks and just address the metaphysical issues. And addressing the metaphysical issues means we need to step back from the particular technologies. So we had the issue with photography. We had the issue with television. We had the issue with movies. We had the issue with early computer art in the 1990s. And now we're seeing it back again. So the anxiety isn't about any particular iteration of the technology, not even the latest one, AI. It's with these technologies quite generally. And so I was trying to understand why we would think these technologies should be a cause of anxiety at all. And I think it's because we view ourselves as somehow exceptional, just not another part of the world. Yes, we're part of the world, but we're a different part of the world from the rest of the world. That's what we want to, that's our hope. And the technology suggests that, hold on, if we can create a part of the world that is just like us, and why would we think we're different from the rest of the world? That, I think, is the fundamental anxiety. And I wanted to suggest that we have to accept that, yes, we can create another part of the world that behaves and thinks and feels very much as we do. And accepting that should be liberating. We don't then have these anxieties. We don't have these worries. In philosophy, problems are always opportunities for research. So there's plenty of new questions arising. And you're asking whether they're significant. There's something new. So we have to think about art possibly entirely generated by autonomous intelligences, right? Without being able to discern a human mind behind an individual act rather than the design of the system as a whole. And we need tools to think about that. Some of those tools are already available to us because we have human psychology. The beauty of them is that they're not replicating human psychology. So deep learning algorithms will figure out patterns, and what they're looking for turns out to be not exactly what we see. And so there's some newness there, and that's a terrific challenge. So that's new, that's significant. But I don't think, on the other hand, that the technology is presenting us with radically new problems requiring a radically new conceptual framework. I still think we're dealing with art in media that are recognizably traditional media, like images, music, narrative, moving images, and so on. I still think we're dealing with cognition, being able to recognize patterns, generate new patterns. I still think that we're dealing with agency. It might be a little bit different from human agency, but it's nevertheless agency. That's to say, we're dealing with machines that are behaving, and we can explain their behaviors by appealing to what they know and what their aims are. And so that's very much in the ballpark of philosophical thinking for the last 2,000 years in all traditions. So there's something new, but there's something old as well.